What is going on, SoFi fans? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. So there was some pretty big news that did come out today. The market's not really representing it as the fullest because I think there still is a lot of gray areas. So I want to go over that and what the current data points are truly saying. So I'm going to go over all that. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's get right to it. So as far as today, it is fairly flat. It did have a nice run first thing in the morning. So I'll give you a good breakdown of what the data points and why it did. But there is news that did come out. So SoFi Technologies buys fintech leader Windham Capital in an all-cash deal. And this was more so the rumor that did start mid last week. And of course, it does look like it came to realization. And with it being a all-cash deal, it goes to show at least it's within a certain amount of parameters and they're not really going to be diluting anything. So I think that's usually what investors care about if there's going to be either a combination of cash or dilution or so forth. So I think given the circumstances, it's fairly good. But as I did say on my video last week, I think this is just a little bit more of a increase in risk, unnecessary risk at this stage in the game. Even though bigger picture is definitely going to help SoFi, but as of right now, and given the current environment of the economy right now, I don't think this is the right move. But of course, I could be very much wrong. I'm not a financial advisor. You guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day. And I only say that because there has been a lot of cracks within the financial system. So potentially, I know SoFi might be thinking they're getting a deal as of right now, but there might be a better deal to be had in maybe 6 months from now. But like I said, it doesn't necessarily say exactly how much they are potentially spending on this whole deal right now, which based on their last earnings, it does show that they had total cash equivalent short-term investments 1.46 billion. So ideally, it didn't eat up a majority of that, but of course, who knows? Let me know your thoughts on that, or potentially if you know how much they did buy Wyndham for, that would be greatly appreciated in the comments. But moving on from that, to give you guys a good overview, based on the options activity, clearly a lot of people are very much liking the news. And of course, like I said, short term, it might be very volatile, but bigger picture, it definitely is going to make SoFi the all-in-one kind of company that I think it wants to encumber. So in general, I think this is a fairly good sign to see a lot of this. And as far as big transactions, so you do see today only around 4 transactions on the secondary market, one of which was a sell. So you can tell based on the bid and the ask and the price that was sold for, it looks like at least these 2 were sales first thing. But of course, it's Monday first thing in the morning, so it's a little bit slower. Generally, the market's only been open for around an hour. As far as dark pool, I'll give you guys a quick overview of that. So as far as that seems to be a little bit more active, as you can tell based on this. And typically, dark pool is very much used by shorts. And so I'll give you a quick overview of what shorts are doing. So currently the short score is 67. Utilization is around 65, give or take. So it's gone down quite a lot. Shorts are right now returning 1.92 thousand shares. So for the most part, just absolutely flat. They're not really doing anything. As you can tell, first thing in the morning, though, it did look like they increased it slightly, but still, they don't necessarily know how to interpret this news as well, because like I said, it doesn't actually talk on dollar values at all. So potentially it might be $1 billion, which I think that would be a little bit more excessive, but of course it's gray. And unfortunately, the market doesn't necessarily like gray, but shorts don't really know what to do. Cost to borrow is flat, so 1.01%. There is still that broker out there that's only charging 0.07%. So one broker out there is very much incentivizing shorting, but outside of that, though, some pivot points to really watch for. Currently, it is between just right below the pivot point, actually, so 605. So that's going to be something that it does most likely battle and continue to battle with today. But of course, as you can see, if it does actually close below that, then 533 is something to watch for, and vice versa. $6.76 is the R1. And generally speaking, SoFi is doing fairly well in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks. A lot of other growth stocks, even though there's been a little bit more of a tentative rebound, they have been trading between the S2 and the S1. So the fact that it is hovering around the pivot point right now is a pretty good sign. And as far as on the actual chart, it's well below a lot of the pivotal moving averages. So in that regard, not really much to talk on. And as I kind of am doing this video, it looks like it is kind of staying between the S1 and the pivot. So in general, that might be where it stays. Momentum number retail investors are getting out, but stochastic though is currently a little bit more overbought. So just be aware, most likely this is why it's also going down today, because two things. One of which is just the grayness of this whole transaction, maybe taking on additional new unnecessary risk, and just for the most part, it is very much overbought. So it does need to consolidate and kind of reset a little bit. So most likely it's going to have a little bit more of a pullback in reality and potentially to that central boiling band at the end of the day. But of course, I could be wrong. I'm not a financial advisor. You guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But like I've said in the past, I know I talk on a lot of short-term stuff, like for instance, what is happening with options and so forth, but I do still truly believe that SoFi is going to be a very big game-changing company in the coming years, especially profitability by 2024. I don't know if this is going to change it by any means, but still, I think bigger picture, SoFi is going to do a hell of a lot of good things. So if you believe in SoFi bigger picture, take advantage of these discounted prices, because in the coming months or potentially years, people are going to look back at this time period exactly and wish they did buy more. But of course, that's just my own thoughts. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. But on a side note, if you guys do know anything about Windham Capital, because other than, for instance, what Yahoo provided, saying that since 2 decades ago, they've helped more than 100,000 borrowers with a 98% satisfaction rating, which I think is pretty good. But how profitable are they? Is this a good benefit for SoFi in the short term, or how is their risk tolerance behind the scenes as well? So again, if you guys have researched that, let me know in the comments below. Greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on SoFi.